Hello, and welcome to Security Leaders, the podcast where we speak to security managers, chief security officers, and professionals from across the security spectrum. My name is Neil Sutton, editor of Canadian Security Magazine. My guest for this episode is Tim McCreight. Tim is the 2023 president of ASIS International and the national director of market development and strategic advisory for CGI. He's also a contributor to Canadian Security Magazine and the author of the Risk Perspective column. I spoke to Tim recently about his ASIS presidency, which began at the beginning of this year, along with some other topics that are close to his heart, like enterprise security risk management and how other security professionals can engage with associations like ASIS. We also discussed some of the findings of a diversity, equity, and inclusion report that was recently published by ASIS. Before my conversation with Tim, here's a quick word from our sponsor, Commissionaires.
There can be an over-reliance on technology as a silver bullet to resolve all the ills. Technology is about a tool. It really comes down to the operators and having those individuals understand the role that they play, not only for client safety and security, but the security and safety of the community as a whole. I'm Don Thompson, Director of Operations for Commissionaires Hamilton. If you'd like to learn more about Commissionaires, please visit commissionaires.ca.
Welcome to the podcast, Tim. It's a pleasure to speak with you. We've had a long relationship with our publication, frequent columnist, friend of the publication, so we're happy to chat to you, particularly as you kick off this new role as the president of ASIS International. Many congratulations, and we know you'll do a great job. I think one of the big questions, obviously, ahead of you is sort of what are the major points, agenda points for ASIS as an organization that you want to tackle in 2023? And how can you, in your role as the president of the organization, help to move these forward?
And thanks, Neil. I appreciate it. And yeah, I've enjoyed being a regular columnist with the magazine and being part of the family as well. So thank you for that and all the opportunities you've given me these past almost 10 years. I think over 10 years now that I've been.
I think it might have. Yeah, it's been a long time.
That's a long time. Holy smokes. And I've enjoyed it, and I hope folks have enjoyed the articles and have seen the progression and the journey that I've taken with enterprise security risk management to the roles I've had. So thanks again for all of it, and many thanks for the congrats on becoming the 2023 president for ASIS. I'm really looking forward to it. And you asked, what are some of the points that I have for my agenda for 2023 and moving ASIS forward into the profession of security. It comes down to this. For me, it's this concept of service before self. I grew up as a kid watching my folks. They were both members of the military when they both left the military, and we were kids growing up. We saw this concept of how they helped the neighborhood. What my mom did to help out families. They couldn't afford some meals, and she would cook or help out with it. And my old man working on almost anything with an engine in his garage, helping out the neighborhood with snowmobiles and lawnmowers and cars. So just to see that and to live that with them. Now that I'm in this role here, it's my opportunity to help give back. So I really am challenging all of our 34,000 global members, three things like, how can I help? How can I give back? And how can we grow? And we as the association, ASIS, but also we as the profession of security. And this challenge is really focused on this concept of service before self. And as we become members of ASIS, and then as we find opportunities to lead and to volunteer, how can we give back to our society? How can we give back to the profession of security and finding opportunities for us to grow? So that's my challenge for all of our members across the globe for 2023 is those three questions. How can I help? How can I give back? And how can we grow?
You're very connected with the security community. You've got a lot of heritage and skin in the game and touch points with other professionals. But what are you hearing from them in terms of what is important to the security industry in Canada and globally? And how can ASIS and you as the president for the next year, what are they looking for? And how can you help support their needs?
One of the things we found over the pandemic, over the last few years, from the beginning to the pandemic, and as we come back into a new phase, a new way to work with or deal with or live within the pandemic itself and the lingering effects of it, the one thing we missed was that human contact, that element of being live in an event and sharing information. And it was so great to see GSX 2022 when we were in Atlanta, to see people, right? To be in the same room, to be in the same space physically and to share our thoughts and perspectives. So I think we're starting to see this desire for more events to be in person, but also to share virtually. I'm really enjoying some of the sessions I get a chance to go to in person this year. So I'm looking forward to those and a chance to share back and forth. So I think that's one of the things that we're looking at as well. Across the globe, we have 254 chapters now across ASIS, and we're seeing more now come towards the chapter meetings. We're seeing those meetings starting to increase with membership and numbers and attendance. So that's always great to see, and that picking up. We're watching changes to our digital environment within ASIS with Connects, right? Changes that we're doing as well for security management online. So all of the amazing transformative pieces that ASIS is putting into place and providing to our members. It's such a great idea that we took these into account and we started changing our approach to servicing the members and the profession by what we're doing within ASIS. And then finally, I think the other one too is DE&I. So this diversity, what we need to look at from those perspectives, how can we offer a greater space and a more inclusive space? And I don't know if you caught it. I think we actually sent to you folks the latest research that we've done from ASIS on DE&I. And I think that that's important for all of us to continue to focus on. Malcolm Smith, the past president for ASIS, was such a great proponent of DE&I. I want to make sure that I carry that message and his commitment to that moving forward in my term as president for 2023.
Can you maybe talk a bit more about what that research entails and how ASIS members and the security community can sort of engage with that information?
We partnered with a UK research firm, the Clarity Factory, and they released on the 18th of January a report to ASIS members that's called Empowering Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion in Corporate Security. And it really gives folks and security professionals some insight into the challenges and the opportunities that we can see within corporate security. What I like about it is it provides not only the research that we're seeing from a challenge perspective, but the report offers some suggestions toward building a better culture that truly respects and celebrates diversity within the workforce. And it focuses on targeted ideas like how to help in the recruiting, developing and retaining that diverse talent across your organization and how you can bring those into your corporate security hiring program. If you have a chance and an opportunity to get to the report, take a look at it. I think ASIS Foundation and the Clarity Factory did a great job of representing what we're seeing now within the corporate security space, and then how we can continually increase that DE&I message across corporate security.
Excellent. As we were talking about right before we started recording, there's a sort of a structure in place for ASIS in terms of the leadership and board membership and so on. So there's an expectation, there's an understanding of who the next president will be, and for the next few years anyway, just in terms of the leadership structure. But being a close-knit community and having those ties with your peers within the organization, is there anything you've heard in terms of advice for people who have gone before you or people who are sort of surrounding you now, just in terms of how you tackle this job? Because it is a big job. Like we were saying, it's almost like another full-time job on top of your regular gig. But in terms of like how you can best serve the organization and how you can handle the responsibilities just because of the time commitments, have you heard from any of the folks who've gone before you or who are advising you now?
Absolutely. So you're right. It's a very close-knit group of the past presidents for ASIS. I've had the luxury of knowing so many of them and have worked with them as well in my time with the global board. I have been receiving quite a bit of advice and some, things that I need to be careful of or things that I can actually focus on as well. And I also wanted to, just a shout out to the team at headquarters for ASIS. They do a fantastic job of managing the operational requirements for ASIS every day. And the support that they provide to me and to others on the global board and the leadership, it's second to none. So for me, I take a lot of comfort in knowing that the team that we have to support us is there, and that I've got an amazing group of professionals who've been before me who are able to provide guidance, suggestions, and some things that I can focus on. That's why I'm trying to keep my vision for the year that I have in office, and also the approach that I want to take is really focused back on that concept of service. I knew coming in last year when I was president-elect coming to this year that this was going to be a busy year for me, right? And my wife and I had that conscious decision and that discussions before I moved into this space, knowing that there were going to be some commitments for my time. I am going to be taking some holidays to attend conferences, but I appreciate that that's the sacrifice that I'm quite willing to make this year. If I can help move the profession forward and keep us on the path that we've set many years ago. So for me, I made that conscious decision. I knew there was going to be a lot of work. But what I am really learning now is the support that I'm receiving from the headquarters staff, Peter O'Neill and his team. It's just fantastic. So they truly are making this a great experience for me, as they have for other presidents in the past. We talked about the whole weekend thing. And I don't mind it. I'll be honest with you. I don't mind it, right? Because I knew this year was going to be a busy year. So I'm okay with weekends if I have to work on some stuff or I got to play catch up on other things. I'm okay with that, right? I'm in a really good position personally where I can do that. I've got my wife and 2 dogs to worry about, so I'm okay with that. The dogs don't mind coming downstairs and spending time with me on a Saturday mornings. I'm okay with it. And I don't mind the time and the commitment of time to give back to this society because the profession of security has given me my entire career. I've been doing this since the early '80s when I got out of the reserves in Winnipeg, and me personally, I feel like I owe the profession for what they've given me. So for me, this is just such a great chance in this year to really give back.
SAS relies on volunteers as well to give the organization life and engagement. Can you talk about maybe sort of how Canadians who are either members of ASIS or interested in becoming more engaged with ASIS, how they can reach out to their local chapters or to the international organization and get more involved?
One of the great things that we have within ASS is this concept of the chapter level engagement. And that's where I first started my career. Like I really became involved with the Edmonton chapter, and I get a chance to actually go up to their 40th anniversary this year from Calgary. So I'm looking forward to that. But I started my involvement with ASS at the chapter level, and it really was joining as a member and then joining internationally, going to the chapter meetings, getting engaged with some of the opportunities that were there. And I started as, I think it was membership chair, and that was a long time ago. And I did work through the different positions at the local chapter level and became the chapter chair for the Edmonton chapter for 1 year, which was terrific. I think that's where a lot of people start, is that engagement at the chapter level and understanding in your local area how you can help out ASIS and how you can help out the local chapter to build up your networking, your understanding of the security profession, and how you can give back at the local level. But there are other opportunities that we have across the year and across the different avenues that we have within ASIS. And that's everything from working on Connects, which is our platform. So it looks similar to LinkedIn, right? All the way through to the different subject area communities that we have within ASIS, where you can learn from your peers, share your expertise and your background and your knowledge, and also offer mentoring opportunities to new members coming in and look for mentoring yourself as you want to grow your role in either a security function as a leader or opportunities that you want to work through from the ASS leadership perspective. We have really tried to grow the opportunities that you have to give back, right? To help grow the profession and to actually help grow your career and the careers of others. So I think headquarters has done a great job of providing those different areas to access online through assonline.org, gaining access to the different communities that we have, our subject area communities, and then in the Connects space as well, where you have a chance to interact with security professionals across the globe to share information and to share your knowledge about the security profession.
As we were talking about, also there's other Canadians who have come before you in this role, and as the organization has become more international and embraced that international outlook, the last 5 or 10 years, it's been, I think, 2, maybe 3 Canadians fill in that presidential role. But it must be an honor to represent not only the organization but as a Canadian as well. So, what does that mean for you both personally and professionally as you take on the role this year?
I do feel honored being one of the very few Canadians who've been in this role. But also remember, we've had folks from Europe, like with Godfried and with Edward. We've had Malcolm from South Africa, who's working in Qatar. John Petrucci just recently as well from the United States. We've had members from. We had one of our presidents from Australia as well. So we have had a global representation in these last 10 to 15 years. And it's great to see that we know that we have a global place, in the global place, we have roles that we fill, but more importantly, we also have leadership that we provide across the globe, and to have representations from different regions across the globe is just, I think, fantastic. To come back to the concept of being a Canadian in the role, I'm proud of it. I think we've got just one of the most amazing security communities that I've seen in Canada. The engagement that we have from the leadership, the members, their approach to being part of ASIS as well as the profession of security. I think we've made some great strides and growth these past 5 years in Canada as well. So I am very proud to represent our Canadian members, and having that background, that backing from our team here in Canada. I just appreciate it. So it's not that it feels like a little extra pressure. I don't want to let anybody down. So that's what I try to do, is truly represent who we are here in Canada, and bring some of those those viewpoints and perceptions into the role here for this year.
We know you will do an awesome job and represent both Canada and ASIS and our vibrant security community. So we wish you all the best for 2023. Look forward to seeing you at GSX and throughout the year as you take these next steps into this role.
Great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to seeing as many of you as I can in the next year. Thank you so much.
Thanks to my guest, Tim McCreight, and our podcast sponsor, Commissionaires. You can find more security-themed podcasts on our website, CanadianSecurityMag.com. I'm Neil Sutton. Thanks for listening.